This is how I play the game! Oh my god! What the fuck?
Holy shit! That is an epic fucking intro, dude.
And I have to warn everyone, warning, what you may see right now is going to be absolutely disgusting.
Sound good?
Alright, sounds good to me.
So someone asked me an interesting question in the stream chat that I want to answer while we're here and we're talking and interacting. Someone said, so for the Christmas Marathon, why did you eliminate so many games from the nominations? Because there were quite a few. If you actually take a look, there was almost 20 games that were tied for the same amount of votes or close. And they all could have easily made it into the voting. And people were asking me, why did I eliminate so many games from the voting?
This is the United States of Phil. I am the supreme being. I make the rules, and what I say goes. This is not a place for you to stand on your soapbox and complain about censorship and freedom of speech, because the bottom line is you don't have freedom of speech. This is my land.
Instead of just leaving them all in there. Well, there's many reasons, so allow me to explain a few of these reasons, alright? My first reasoning is, when you have a poll, you want it narrowed down as much as possible. You don't want 20 options, 30 options for a poll. You want top 10. You want 10 things to vote on, 10 definitive choices, 10 things that make sense, so it's easier for you to pick and choose. Now, I did make the poll multiple choice so that you can pick as many as you want out of the top 10 games, but I realized that some people were going to be like, if there's more than 10 options, they're going to be so off-put and so confused that, you know, it's not going to work very well as a poll.
Wow.
Started narrowing these down. There was a few criteria that I looked at, okay? The first criteria was, are these games that are insanely expensive that I'm never going to probably play again? That immediately meant that a game that was a full-price retail game or a game that was close, like $40 to $60 range, if these were games that I'm just going to play for the Christmas Marathon and I have no intention of ever going back, was immediately eliminated.
Fuck you, you fucking greedy piece of shit. Go fuck yourself.
You know, I'm not going to spend a ton of money on a game that I'm not going to play again. And now if I get it, now people are going to feel obligated. Like, oh, Phil's obligated now to keep playing that game because he bought the whole thing and he should really play that whole game. You see what I mean? There were certain games like Code Vein was in there. I'm not going to drop $60 on Code Vein, play it once and never play it again. You see what I mean? So some games were just immediately eliminated. Other games that were nominated were games that I'd actually already played, and I don't know if people had realized that I had already played them or not, but games that I'd maybe already started, and yeah, I played a little bit of them, and it was kind of fun for a gimmick, but it wasn't like something that I would probably enjoy going back to.
Fuck you, you fucking piece of shit. Seriously.
What happened? What the fuck's going on? Oh, come on! You mean to tell me I just lost 30 minutes of progress? That's the first time. That is the first time in a year that I've been playing Minecraft on the Xbox One that it's crashed like that. You gotta be joking me. I seriously just lost a half an hour of content. I did. I have to do all that inventory shit over. I've been trusting that Minecraft works because it literally has not crashed at all. I never save periodically because the game usually fucking works.
As I've said many times, you know, people will get what's coming to them. It's called karma.
Well, anyway, Brian Whitaker tipped me $16 to become the top contributor of the night, and he says 16 days till Christmas. Here's a joke I heard the other day. What does a priest and a Christmas tree have in common? The balls are just for decoration. Well, there you go. Thank you very much to Brian Whitaker for the top tip and top contribution of the night. I think when the game crashed, it auto-saved somehow. I think so. I think when the game crashed, it auto-saved because I'm kind of, yeah, I'm where I was. Anyway, I guess we'll get back to what I was doing before I got horribly distracted. By the way, I didn't finish what I was saying, so getting back to the topic of the Christmas Marathon. There was one other reason why I eliminated certain games from the running for the marathon, and that reason was because... Oh, that's not clay, nope. That reason was because there was already another game of that type that was going to be part of the marathon. So, for example, so people nominated Street Fighter V, but I already told you guys from the get-go I was going to play classic Street Fighter. I wanted to do throwback Street Fighter as part of the Christmas event. So because I was already doing Throwback Street Fighter, there was absolutely no reason to do Street Fighter V as well. Plus, I wanted to play Throwback Street Fighter more than Street Fighter V.
Fuck off about it. It's time to move on. Seriously, it's time to fucking move on.
2020 is going to be a... Alright guys, so sorry about that. If you were either watching that video on YouTube or you were watching live on the stream, you probably wondered what the hell happened to my mic. It died. This is just an issue with Windows that happens from time to time. It's a Windows driver error, and then it fixes itself if I restart the stream, which is what I did. So now we should be good. Hopefully it doesn't happen again during this stream. My apologies.
Gex the Lizard cheered. He said, if you must not be named were to apologize for his criminal activities, would you forgive him? It's not a matter of an apology. It's a matter of stop doing it. Because the people who do that stuff, they know. They outright know what they're doing is hurting me. It's stealing my content. It's taking viewers away from me. Instead of contributing to me, they're contributing to them. They know that. They know they are stealing. They can try to justify it till the cows come home under fair use or whatever. They know what they are doing is wrong. They are ignoring the morality of the issue because they know they legally cannot get in trouble for it, and they can make a buck doing it. The only way I would ever accept an apology is if they stopped doing it. No, I won't. Because nothing that I said was false, which he's not going... None of them are ever going to do that. It's not just one person. There's more than one person who does it. They're never going to stop doing it. If they can get notoriety, if they can get popularity and make money by basically ripping me off, why wouldn't they continue doing it? There's no repercussions, right? YouTube absolutely fucking refuses to take any action against them because they say, you need to sue them. We don't do anything about defamation. We don't do anything about actual copyright infringement. You have to sue them if you want action taken. I can't sue because I'm not rich and I don't have the time to do it. So I guess I'm fucked. I'm the odd man out that gets screwed over and there's nothing I can do about it. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, no apology, fucking apology. Stop fucking ripping me off on a daily basis. Show some actual talent and skill and show that you could do something other than steal. Why does everyone want me to give Tevin a birthday shout out? You guys are fucking lame trolls. What? Who cares if I say fucking happy birthday to Tevin or not? Happy birthday to my #1 fucking thief who deserves jail time for the amount of fucking stuff that he steals illegally, except that YouTube won't do anything about it and he knows that I can't afford to stop him. Happy birthday, shithead. There you go. And then maybe I would actually respect you a little bit. Because the truth of the matter is these people obviously have talent or they wouldn't have a following. It's just sad they put that talent towards something that's illegal. It really is. It's sad that they can't do something, you know, fun and creative and positive and legal with their fucking talents. Instead, they have to do something that's the easy way out, the easy way to make money, the easy, you know. So what's harder? Actually being here, creating these streams, interacting with you guys, putting out fun gameplay, and actually playing while I'm interacting with you and doing all this, or just sitting there making fun of someone all night? What's harder? Right? Obviously, what I do is 20 million times fucking harder. Dark side, fill the lol cow. I work harder, and I'm more dedicated to my audience than any of those motherfuckers. Oh my god!
What the fuck? Whoa! Whoa!
Stay on his asshole, don't lose him.
What in the fuck was that, dude? Holy fucking titty twisting, what the? Oh! But they will do it because it's easy mode bullshit and it's illegal. They don't give a fuck. So there's nothing I can do about it, and no apology is ever going to be accepted. Just stop fucking ripping me off and go the fuck away and leave me alone.
I do like wrestling, but I'm just not hardcore into it like I used to be. And I think it's a good thing. I honestly think I enjoy it more this way, so I'm probably going to stay this way. You know, keep in mind, when I was super hardcore into wrestling too, again, it was mostly, one of the motivating factors was I was doing that commentary show, Smart Guys. If anything, the one regret I have about Smart Guys is that it always ended on the premise that it was going to continue, because it was supposed to continue with myself and my friend John Rambo. It was supposed to just continue as a remote thing where he called in and we did a remote version of it over the internet. And he told me, for the longest time, yes, don't worry, we are going to still do the show. You know, it's just going to take a while. I'm busy with my own personal stuff. And it always was another excuse, until, of course, eventually I found out he was lying the whole time. He actually didn't want to do the show. He had all this pent-up aggression against me and shit. And apparently it was never going to happen. I wish he had just told me instead of lying to me for a year and a half about it. But what I would have liked to do, if that were the case, would have done, like, a final episode. Because that was a show that ran a long time. That was what? Like, I want to say at least 3 years. And we started it in, what, like 2011? And it went all the way through 2014. So when you do a show for that long, you feel an attachment to it. Like I do, I feel pride that every week I was one of the guys who watched every wrestling show, and, you know, I dedicated myself to doing it. And by the way, I should say this too, maybe I should have seen the signs that maybe John didn't really care as much about the stuff we were doing as I did, because smart guys, he liked watching wrestling, but by the time that we were doing it for like a while, he started complaining about it and was like, man, I'm just gonna come and you tell me the results, and I'll just tell you what I think about the results. So he basically stopped watching the shows and would just listen to me reading the results and would just react during the show. He wasn't even watching the wrestling anymore, you know? So maybe that should have been an indication that he didn't really care about that stuff anymore anyway, and he basically didn't want to do it. But I was basically taking his word for it, and he kept saying he wanted to do it and whatever. I honestly now, you know, years later I think about it and I'm like...
He probably was just still doing it for the money, because he knew that I was paying him every show that he was on. What?
Once you go to the dark side, it's hard to go back from that. You know what I'm saying?
I was paying him to be on the show, but he probably didn't like it and didn't want to do it anymore, but didn't want to not get paid, so he just kept doing the show, but even though he wasn't watching the wrestling and wasn't really invested in it anymore. So it is what it is. But anyway, the thing that one of my biggest regrets about that was I was always under the impression that we were going to go back and continue the show, so I never had a final episode. Sadly, what happened was a lot of the people went from our show, which got canceled, and went on to watch other people's commentary shows. And commentary shows really picked up. Like right now, there's commentary shows of wrestling on the internet that are giant, and you know, they get tons of views, and...
Views. I don't want to be Mr. Views. Views. I don't want to be Mr. Views. Just call me Mr. Tips.
It's very funny, because that was one of the things that I was doing as a side project. That was never a real focus of mine. That, honestly, if I kept at it and stayed dedicated to it, it might have actually blown up. Because now that wrestling is so popular, you got your AEW, you got your WWE, your Impact, your New Japan. There's so much going on in pro wrestling now that to do an ongoing wrestling commentary show that covers all the news is actually, like, essential. Most people can't sit around watching all that wrestling all the time. So it actually might have blown up and actually got more popular or whatever.
I just want more money. I Kill Kenny, you're completely mistaken. Rambo was paid for every single minute that he did anything in any of my stuff. I'm good at lying.
Whether it was Smart Guys, whether it was the gameplay that he did with me, whether he traveled with me, like, he was always compensated for everything. Whenever we traveled, I usually paid his way, whether it was a hotel room or stuff like that, travel accommodations or plane tickets. When he was filming with me, he always got paid. The way we used to do it is I actually used to get reports from Machinima. Based on viewership, it would tell you how much money you made on a video. He would get paid 50% of everything.
Silver-tongued talker, right? Oh, I'm just going to say it one way, and hopefully you'll believe it, even though that's not the truth. And that's literally what's happening here. The guy's a liar. The guy's a fucking blatant liar and lying to everyone. But people are believing it because they don't know any better.
That's how I did it. I said that was the only fair way. Give him half. Even though I was filming, I was editing, I was uploading, I gave him half. Because I was trying to be nice. I was so appreciative that this friend of mine would come and share his expertise and his time and all that with me, that I wanted to make sure that this guy was trying to make out. And I knew that what he was getting paid wasn't enough to make a living. I knew that sadly he had to have another job outside of what we were doing, and I felt bad for that because I really wanted him to be able to kind of be as successful as I was with his own stuff, which it never was. You know, he did his own show. John Rambo presents the show. He did his own Dodge Man a Hole Punch, and it never really got popular to the point where he could make good money doing it, and I felt bad about that. So I always paid him half. I always did that. I was very honest and upfront about that. I would always pay him 50% no matter what, even if it was less than me, because essentially I was getting paid less than he was for the stuff we were involved in. But you know, I don't know where people get these crazy misconceptions of all that. I swear, there's just lies and misconceptions out there about that whole time. And there's not much I can do about that. I don't like talking about it because, you know, it is in the past. It's not going to change. What's done is done. People who decided to backstab me did. And that's life, I guess, right? You move on. It's been a long time now. It's been 4 years. And I really don't think about it that much anymore. But every once in a while, you guys ask and it comes up again. So, Shrimpy Pimply cheered. He said maybe he enjoyed spending time with you. I mean, maybe he did. I would hope he did. I would hope that simply he didn't just come and spend almost every single weekend with me just for money. Seriously, like, I genuinely enjoyed all the time that I spent with Rambo. I did. Like, it was so much fun, and that's why I seriously am so fucking blindsided that this guy, after all those years of doing that stuff with me, comes out and is like, oh, Phil was just in it for the money, and he never was a good friend and all that. And I'm like, I felt the complete opposite. Like, I thought the time we had was great. I thought that we had a lot of time, special, friend time together. And, I thought that we were close and everything. And apparently he thought complete opposite. So, it's just funny how people can have completely disagreeing viewpoints on this when they're in the same fucking building doing the same thing. I don't know. That's just me, though. That's just my take. That's all it ever will be, is my take. He'll always have his point of view and his opinion. I'll always have my point of view and my opinion. It's just, I am very sad the way that it ended, the way that it did, because it was his choice to do that, not mine. And like I said, one of my biggest regrets, is that I was never able to do a send-off show for the stuff that we were doing. There was no grand finale content with him and me. There was no grand finale of Smart Guys. And that's not, honestly, that's not fair to the viewers.
Fuck you.
Epic Rage $7 says it's not too late to befriend each other. Anything's possible and life's too short to hold grudges. Yeah, but the thing is, he did hold a grudge. That's the point. Like, I didn't hold a grudge against him. He's the one who didn't respond to me, cut off contact with me, then made a video saying that I was basically a bad person and that he was really upset about things that I'd done over the years. So, the ball would be in his court to contact me and say, okay, listen, I kind of burned the bridge 4 years ago, I'm sorry, and, let's talk, let's be friends again. That would be in his court. Now, I never ended the friendship, he did. So it's up to him to start things up again, not me. You know what I mean? Like, everything, it's hilarious. How can you make a video saying, well, I never responded to Phil, and his texts or anything, but now I expect him to call me. It's like, wait a minute. I was texting you for 6 months, and after a while you just stopped responding to anything that I had to say. Now you want me to call you, but you stopped responding to me. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. It's like he was like so hung up about texting or something. Like, what's the difference between texting or a phone call, right? It's the modern fucking era. People text all the time. I had to tell you, I didn't call my wife either. The whole time that, before she lived with me, I was texting her. I wasn't calling her on the fucking phone. We texted all the time. So I don't understand what his gripe was. I really don't. I don't get to this day. I don't understand what his big holdup. I really feel that there was, like, underlying pent-up issues that he doesn't want to talk about. And because of that, like, maybe he feels like when I moved away from Connecticut, I abandoned him because I was someone who I was always doing stuff with him, and it was a way for him to have a job or make money or whatever. And when I moved, that was it. That was, like, basically he was, like, unemployed. You know what I mean? Not to say he didn't have another job. He did, but, it never, admittedly, it never was a discussion where it was like, well, I wouldn't move out of Connecticut because Rambo was doing co-op with me every week and making money doing it. That was never a point of discussion at all. He never even brought it up. Maybe that was part of it. I have no idea. All I know is what he said in a video, which to me, watching that video, it doesn't make any sense because the stuff he's saying was never explained to me, never portrayed to me in any way, shape, or form. And from our own personal experiences, from my side, it makes no sense. How can you say that I was not contacting you when I was? You were ignoring me. He was ignoring me for 6 months. He was barely ever responding, if he even responded. And then come to find, oh, well, I really feel that every time he texted me, it was just about filming something. That actually wasn't the case, but when you don't respond to my text, how would you ever know? You see what I mean? He stopped responding to me, so how would he even know what I wanted to talk about when he never fucking bothered to even respond to me? So, it just seems to me that for him, he had this mindset or this idea in his mind, and he got so fed up that he wanted to completely and definitively say, end it. There's too much stress associated with it. There's too many people constantly pestering me on the internet about when will I be in a video with Phil? What's going on with you and Phil? So he decided to make that video because that would end. That cut it off. And since then, no one's bothering him about me. No one's pestering him about me. Everyone knows now that he wants nothing to do with me. And he was basically freed of that online kind of harassment and constant Phil. He got to kind of move on and do whatever the hell he wanted and kind of not have to worry about the whole dark side Phil involvement anymore. I really feel that's why he did that. And that's why, again, if he actually had wanted to be friends, he would have responded to one of those texts, or after the video and after hearing how negatively it hurt me, he would have reached out and said something. He hasn't in 4 years. He doesn't give a fuck. If he did, he would have reached out to me. My contact information is exactly the same, hasn't changed. He could have easily reached out to me at one time during the last 4 years, and he didn't. I'm the public persona, not him. I'm the one who's easy to reach, not him. Shrimpy Pimply cheered. And he said maybe he had his own problems. No, and you're right. You're absolutely right. Maybe Rambo has his own life, has his own problems, has his own shit going on. That's perfectly fine. So tell me. Right? Tell me what's going on. Don't have pent-up resentment behind the scenes and then blow up in a video publicly when you literally ignored me for 6 months instead of telling me that there was a problem. Again, I said this back then, I'll say it again. A real person who has responsibility, who has respect, who acts like a true responsible adult, a man per se, rather than someone who's a coward, who hides, who has pent-up resentment, passive-aggressive behaviors. A real person will upfront tell you when there's a problem. They won't hold it behind closed doors, secretly pretend like it doesn't exist, and then all of a sudden blow it up in your face to make you look bad. That's not what someone who actually cares does. And quite frankly, when that video was made, it really changed my perception of John and Howard, because I had always thought that those guys were upfront, honest guys, and basically let me see that they weren't. That they were basically kind of cowardly and didn't ever want to say shit upfront to me, honestly, that they were afraid of how I would react or something, which is preposterous. It's not like I ever reacted to them in a way that was mean or angry. It's not like I had any power over those guys, that if I didn't, oh my god, I'm angry because they said something, that I did something wrong, now I'm going to blow up on them on the internet. I never would have done that.
Understand that not everything that I say or do is going to be 100% transparent, and you should have the common sense to understand that. But that's the problem. People don't have common sense these days anymore.
And I actually, the other thing is, over the years, and they knew this, I always said, one of the most important things for me is trust. One of the most important things is honesty and trust and being upfront. I would rather you insult me to my face than you hold pent-up aggression for 3 years and then have it come up, behind my back and stab me in the back. I'd rather have you just insult me to my face, because then we can figure out why you have this negative feeling towards me, and we can figure it out together and get past it, If I don't know about it, I can't get past it. And that was the whole issue there. That was the whole fucking issue there, is that here's someone who I trusted, who I'd, been a close friend with, told stuff who I hadn't told anyone else, trusted him with private information and shit, and he had done the same with me, and over the years we had done work together, but personal stuff and fun stuff together, and he literally had all these issues and never fucking told me. That's not respect, that's not how you treat a true friend. It's not, If I had issues with him, I definitely would have told him, and he apparently decided not to give me that same kind of honesty, and that's kind of fucked up in my opinion, so... Uzi Go Hard cheered. He said that was a very bitter take on the situation. You're the one that seems to not want to be friends with him because he doesn't talk about it anymore. Dude, what do you not understand? What do you not understand? I wanted to be his friend. I continuously talked with the guy after I moved. He was the one who behind the scenes decided he didn't want to be a part of my life and be in my content anymore, and never told me, was never upfront and honest with me about any of it. Then, after not talking to me for months, goes in a video and lies and says that I didn't talk to him, which is bullshit. He literally ignored me for months on end just because I was texting him instead of calling him, which makes no fucking sense. What's the difference between a text and a phone call? There is none. The truth of the matter is, it's been over 4 years, guys. Over 4 years, alright? Since I said a word to either Rambo or Howard, and since they said a word to me. The last interaction we possibly had was when they did that nasty video about me, and that was it. That was the burned bridge. That was them telling me, we really don't want anything to do with you. Even though they with their very fake faces in the video, said, oh, we would like to still have a connection with Phil. The phone lines are open. The phone lines have been open. I've been texting you for 6 fucking months and you never responded. So it's not that all of a sudden magically the phone lines are open. It's that you didn't respond to me. It's basically facetious. It's them saying one thing and meaning another. They want to look like the positive guys who never had anything wrong. Okay? They do. They want to look like they were always in the right and they did nothing wrong and I was the villain.
You think I'm the villain? Go fuck yourself.
Because that gives them the way out. That gives them the way to say, we're out of this relationship. We don't want people pestering us about Phil anymore. We don't want to be in his content anymore. And if we do this one end-all be-all video that basically makes Phil look like shit, at his expense, by the way, because we don't care how this negatively affects him positively or positively or negatively or publicly, because we just want to get out. And that's essentially what it was. They didn't give a fuck about how it would negatively affect me. They just said, we'll just do this so we can help ourselves and screw over Phil. And that's exactly what happened. For everyone talked shit about me, everyone hated me, people quit watching me and stuff because they just wanted to believe what those two had to say instead of actually believing my side of this take, which, by the way, I didn't really talk about for the longest time because I was so hurt by what they had done that I didn't even want to really talk about it anymore. But the truth of the matter is, it's bullshit. It was the whole thing, the way it was done was set up to make me look bad. I don't appreciate it. And after 4 years, if any of them had a shred of decency in them, where they actually felt like, oh shit, maybe this was kind of a messed up thing to do the way we did it, maybe we should have just contacted Phil, they would have contacted me by now. They didn't. So after 4 years, no, I don't have any desire to freaking talk to them or be their friends again. Why would I? It's been 4 fucking years. We could be totally different people. I can tell you right now, I'm a completely different person now.
That was good.
Than when I moved out of Washington. You know what I mean? Like, I have matured up, I have grown up, I've changed the content I put out, I'm not the same kind of person. You know, I'm married now, my life is much better, I'm in a much better place, I'm a much better person than I was 4.5 years ago when I left Connecticut. Actually, I take it back, 5.5 years ago, holy shit. I left Connecticut in the mid-2014, it's been 5.5 years. My life is completely different, you know, everything about me is different. So, you know, I'm sure they've moved on with their lives as well. And why are you gonna go back for something that's we've been apart now for fucking 4 or 5 years? To them, they probably never give me a thought. Seriously, they probably moved on. They've got families, kids, etc. They probably never give me a thought. To them, I was just a blip on the radar in their life, and now I'm a part of their past that they wrote off and they could just move on. For me, every day I still think about the awesome times I had with those guys.
God damn, dude, that's depressing as fuck.
And how sad it is that, that fell apart and they chose to have it fall apart. Because I have an online persona, every day people still talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, those guys don't get bothered by that shit anymore. They don't have online personas where they're constantly talking with people. I'm the one who has to live down all the repercussions of their actions to do with it what they did and handle it the way that they did. They didn't think about that. They don't have to think about that. To them, it was just, fuck it. Move on and fuck Phil, right? But I'm the one who's left with the pile of shit for the rest of my life. People will still be asking me about what happened to those guys. How did that fall apart? How do you feel? Blah, blah, blah. So it's completely one-sided. It's completely unfair and messed up. And that's just the situation. But I really, at this point, have zero desire to ever be friends with them again. Why? It's been 4 years. It's been 4 fucking years. If they cared, they would have reached out. I don't care anymore. I have a full life. I'm super busy with my wife. I'm super busy with my cat. I'm super busy with my streams. I'm busy with everything else going outside of that. I don't have time for other friendships outside of that right now. Maybe in the future I will. I don't right now. I could give 2 shits about, what's going on with them because they don't give 2 shits about me. So why do we even dwell on this? And why do people still to this day, they're still cheering and saying, oh, be friends with them. Be friends with them. No, I don't care.
Oniony, salty aftertaste in my mouth.
Maybe I cared back then because I was so hurt. It's 4 years, guys. 4 fucking years. If you actually do the math, I now have been further away. Like, I've done more content since I moved to Washington. I've done more solo content than I ever did co-op content with John Rambo. If you actually add it up, he started doing co-op with me in 2010. So 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, and half of 2014. Well, I've now done 4.5 years of solo content here, and have obviously moved on successfully. It's, people got to move on at some point. You know what I mean? People got to move on. They've got to realize that era is over. It's not coming back. It's never going to come back. That was their active choice to do what they did. I'm never going to be able to change that or affect it in any other way at all. It's always going to be just what it is. So either, you accept it, or you keep talking about it, you keep harping on it, you keep beating the dead horse, you keep, and for me, it's like, it's a closed subject. I don't see why people keep bringing it up and shit. I really don't. I don't see why people keep constantly bringing it up. When in reality, it's not super important. It's not something that I feel is effective to really even talk about anymore because it doesn't really affect my life anymore, I don't think things are magically going to fix overnight ever, I don't have these weird misconceptions that one day magically everything will go back to the way it was, or, it's not. It's over. It's been over for 4 fucking years. It's time to grow up and move on, Bullish Rock says some people just can't move on from the past, and you're right. Richard Link says people bring it up because of this reaction. Well, you see, I feel like this was actually a nice level-headed way to deal with it. I basically spoke from the heart. I told you exactly how I felt. I tried not to be offensive. I tried to be fair to those guys, because I can kind of see from their perspective as people who maybe felt that I didn't treat them the best over the years, and felt that maybe the insane amount of constant harassment and negativity that they got as a result of being a part of my content was such a weight on their lives that they had to find a way out by any means necessary. And I really feel that's how it ended up the way it did, and how it ended the way it ended is because they just felt, oh shit, it's not worth it anymore to be friends with Phil, because look at all the shit, the harassment we're getting online constantly, being Phil's content, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And they realized they weren't ever going to make it doing internet-based content, that they had to do other stuff, and it wasn't working out. So what a way to cut it off than to do it the way they did it, I don't think they realized that it was going to hurt me as much as it did. I don't think they cared. To them it was just, we got to get on with our lives, so fuck Phil. He left us when he moved, so let's cut him, right? And that's what happened, so.
Once again, you're being dishonest, and you've shown absolutely no signs of changing.
Triple cheered against it. Sorry, I'll drop it. Seems like it still sort of hurts. It's always going to hurt. That's the thing. People say, oh, in time things get better, things don't hurt as much. That's horseshit. When you get genuinely hurt in life, it'll hurt forever. It will. It'll always hurt. It's just that it's not as sharp as it used to be. You know what I mean? Like, every day I think about that, I still feel like I was completely betrayed and hurt by those guys. But I can't change the past. I can't make things any better. So that's life, and you move on. And you instead of, I could have took that experience as, oh my god, here's people who I trusted, and they completely betrayed me and treated me like crap by doing this. And I could have just said, well, I give up. But I didn't. Instead, I stayed positive. I stayed the course, and even with all the worst things that happened to me in the future, I'm still here. I'm still positive. I have a beautiful wife now to share a life with because I didn't give up. You know what I mean? Like, I could have shut down and just said, fuck this, and got depressed and just let everything overcome and beat me, and I didn't do that. Instead, I just reapplied myself more positive in life, and things turned out well. So there's an example of not letting that shit overcome you, and then having a positive outcome. So, Delancius did a 3200-bit cheer and said, have some bits. Wow. Well, thank you, Delancius, for the 3200-bit cheer. That is the biggest contribution of the night. Shrimpy Pimply cheers, so maybe they feel bad now and I'm too embarrassed to bring it up. Dude, they just don't care. I'll tell you right now, they don't care. If they had an inkling of morality or feeling of remorse, they would have definitely done something. They don't care.
Ultimate Warrior took me $1, says, will you ever do a debunk stream about Rambo and Howard? No. No. It's stupid. It's just stupid. And there's no point. I've talked about it over the years. Every once in a while, I'll give you my take. I'll give you, what I think. I'm not going to sit there and do a fucking debunk stream. There's no point. It's dead. I told you, I've now made more content after my anything I've ever done with them. I've made 5 solid years of content here in Washington State by myself. Their stuff is so far in the past, most people who watch me today don't even know about that shit. So what's the point of doing a fucking debunk stream 5 years later? That would be the dumbest, pettiest, stupidest thing I could ever do. Phil has indoctrinated children who send him money, blatantly milking for money. It's a money pit. It's gone, just gone like that. In an instant, fucking gone. I just care about money. I just can't help it. I eBay. Contributions are mandatory, but I need your help. I am appealing directly to you. No decency, no respect, no common sense, no fucking maturity. Is the guy who just doesn't get reality.